Yo, what's going on guys? HyperX here. Welcome back to another video for Elden Ring, and in this one I want to go over 5 rare bleed weapons that you may not have encountered. Of course, if you guys have seen our rare weapon video before, these are the ones that you get if you farm certain enemies, and depending on of course how much time you spent killing said enemies, you may never have seen some of these weapons before. So, for those of you guys that love bleed builds, we all know it, bleed is fantastic, everyone loves it, or maybe you're sick of it by now. Either way, here are 5 rare bleed weapons that you definitely want to check out. So if you guys do enjoy this, a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below, let me know if you guys have got any of these. And of course, don't forget to keep it locked for plenty more Elden Ring. So, kicking it off in at number 1, we have the Chainlink Flail. This is, it's in the name, a flail type weapon, and this of course does have innate bleed on it. Blood loss buildup of 50 by default. This has a strength requirement of 18, a dex requirement of 12, and primary scaling of C in strength and E in dex. Of course, all of the weapons in this video are customizable. You can put on your own Ashes of War, so it should go without saying that if you do go and throw on the blood affinity on any of these weapons, you can then boost that blood loss buildup, or of course you can put other things if you want, say, a combination of frost and bleed, whatever you want. Either way, the flail is a great pick. And honestly, I feel like it's one of those weapon types that maybe doesn't necessarily get used as much. If you want to get this one, then what you want to do is head over to the Altus Plateau and turn your attention to the following Site of Grace, the Road of Iniquity side path. Alternatively, if you haven't unlocked this one, you can then go to the Bridge of Iniquity and then go backwards. But basically, we're turning our attention to this pathway here because when you head down, there is a carriage being pulled, and you want to turn your attention to the Pumpkinhead because he is wielding this weapon, so quite simply kill him, and he has a chance to drop it. It is worth noting, if he does not drop it, you can also go and run from this location over here, drop off the cliff, and there is a second Pumpkinhead sitting down on the floor. Very easy there. So of course you can kill 2 of these for 2 chances at the flail, and then if it doesn't work, you can simply go back to the Site of Grace and start again. But farm this and hope you get lucky. Moving on from there to number 2, we have the Forked Greatsword. This is, of course, a Greatsword style weapon. This one comes from one of these stone imps. It is actually a pretty cool design. If you guys saw our video the other day on the Flamberge, which of course is also another bleed-focused Greatsword, this is kind of like the slightly lesser version. So, of course, if you do compare them side by side, you probably would want to get the Flamberge, but this is still a very cool weapon. Again, comes with blood loss buildup, has a strength requirement of 14, a dex requirement of 16, and it has balance scaling of D in strength and D in dex. Technically speaking, you can get this one earlier than you can the Flamberge, so in that regard, it's of course a weapon that you could, in a fresh run, get a little sooner. If you want to get this one, you simply need to turn your attention to the Roads End Catacombs. If you have not got this one, or you haven't accessed this, don't forget you can go from the Revenger's Shack, and you can then simply work back down alongside the mountain path and get to this door. Now this one is incredibly easy to farm. It is a pretty rare drop. It took me quite a while, but the actual route you have to take is super quick. From the Site of Grace, you simply run on the stairs, and the imp will literally come running towards you, so you can just swing your sword, kill it, and this is the one that has a chance to drop that sword. So, if you're unlucky, turn around, go back up, go to the Site of Grace, run down, let it charge at you again, and repeat this cycle. So you do not have to go very far at all. It is incredibly quick to farm this on repeat, but it did take me quite a few kills to get this one, so I feel like this one is a little bit rarer unless I just got super unlucky. Now, following on from there, we then have the Vulgar Militia Saw. This is a halberd style weapon. The actual design for this is basically a saw on the end of a stick. However, it is actually a pretty cool weapon, and it's also worth noting if you get 2 of these and you power stance them, they do have a pretty nice moveset, and they are actually pretty potent. So of course, if you do run 2 of these with blood loss on them, and of course you do throw on, say, the bleed affinity to bolster that, then you can actually get some really, really nice damage out of these things. So if you want to get one of these ones, you need to turn your attention over to Kaled, and you need to go over to the Farum Great Bridge Site of Grace. These are the guys that of course you would have killed early on in the game. If you guys remember, one of the original rune farms, one of the ones that we showed you, was of course where you run around here and you kill these guys on repeat. They used to be the rune farm before of course we go over to the area where we kill the bird, that stuff like that. But as you wander around, of course you find some of these militiamen, you will notice that some of them wield this weapon. You do not need to kill all of them, you simply need to find the ones that actually have this, which of course, as a sort of quick run around, if you want to do a little farming route, you can then go up on your horse and you can work your way up to the guy up here. This is the first guy that has one of those weapons. Kill him. From there, you can then turn to the left and run towards the next one, who is of course over there. And from him, you can then run past the ruins and run up the hill, and there is another one over there. There are of course a few more if you want to go to the other side of the map, but basically, run around, pick on the guys with that weapon, kill them, and hope that you get lucky. Then for those of you guys that want to do the Grim Reaper cosplay, you have the Grave Scythe. Again, another bloodlust weapon, another customizable weapon, and it is a scythe type weapon. Very, very cool. There are of course not too many of these in the game, so they are actually very nice in that regard. Also worth noting if you power stance these ones, they also have a very nice moveset. They have a very potent, powerful jump attack as well. So of course if you do take these ones and either you scale them accordingly, or you switch them over to Occult, and of course you take full advantage of the arcane scaling, these can be very, very nice. If you want to get one of these, then what you need to do is turn your attention to the lake facing cliffs Site of Grace, and then from there simply run down the hill to the little sort of graveyard, and there will be 3 skeletons that spawn. They all wield this weapon. Don't forget, of course, you need to kill them and then kill them again so they don't respawn. And then once you've done that, they all have a chance to drop this, so that is a pretty quick farm because there are 3 of them here, and then once you've dealt with them, you can then go back up to the Site of Grace and respawn. And then finally, for the very last one, we of course have the Thorned Whip, another one of my favourite weapons. Definitely if you guys have seen the whip build. This one of course has a strength requirement of 8 and a dex requirement of 16. It is a fantastic weapon, fully customizable, and again, if you throw on the Occult Affinity with this one, take full advantage of the arcane scaling, you get a nice mix of blood loss build up and also some great damage. You can of course lean heavily into blood loss if you want to, or throw on something like Frostbite to sort of get a nice mix of blood and frost. Either way, whips are just really cool, especially if you do take both of them, power stance them, they are also very nice. And again, for this one, you need to turn your attention over to the mountaintops of the Giants, the snowy area, and go to the Giants Mountaintop Catacombs Site of Grace, and from there you can then simply run outside, and you then want to work your way up towards the bridge. There is of course that one singular enemy there, go and kill him, and he has a chance to drop that whip. It is pretty rare, but of course again, once you've done that, you can either jump off the edge and respawn at the Stake of Marika, or just simply run back to the catacombs and of course reset. If you want to keep your buffs, either way, whatever it is, this is who you need to farm. So, there you have it. There's a little rundown on 5 rare bleed weapons that maybe you have not used or seen, and things that you may want to consider using if you want to mix up your weapon choice and try some different things. If you guys have missed any of our recent videos, be sure to check out one of the ones linked on screen right now, and again, don't forget to keep it locked to the channel for plenty more Elden Ring.